Arguably, the worst crime a person can commit is that of murder. While manslaughter is the legal term for an action that unintentionally results in another person's death, murder is different. Murder is passionate, murder is planned, and murder is intentional. But even murder can have its degrees. In simple words, how bad prosecutors think the crime is. You might have already heard the phrase first degree, or even second degree murder. As we've discussed before, first-degree murder is the most common, where someone plans out the kill and knows exactly what they're doing. Second-degree, meanwhile, is used as a catch-all category for murders that aren't quite first-degree or when prosecutors can't prove that the killing was planned. In our last episode, we had one defendant charged with the first degree and another with the second. But today's case is a separate degree. Within the already severe charge of murder, there exists another, even worse type of crime: capital murder. Similar to first-degree murder, capital murder is the killing of another person with planning and intention. But where capital murders differ is in their aggravating factor. To be charged with capital murder, there must be a special circumstance to the crime, often being who you killed or how you went about the task. Killing a police officer, firefighter, child, or even an elderly person can often be the special circumstance that gets someone charged with capital murder. Similarly, killing for hire or torturing the victim can also be a special circumstance. In most states, alongside the special charge comes special punishments. Whereas first-degree murder can usually scale to multiple years in prison and sometimes even parole, capital murder starts at life with parole and, more often than not, the death penalty. You're listening to Call to the Bench, where we go beyond storytelling and analyze the legal significance of true crime. In this episode, we'll be discussing the case of a 12-year-old from Texas who was charged with capital murder for the killing of a professional boxer. John Dwayne Van Meter, who was 24 at the time, had started his professional boxing career just a few years ago in the featherweight division. Finding some success in the field, he had gotten engaged and currently had 2 sons. Apart from his boxing career, John was also seen as a mentor figure at his boxing gym, helping both his own kids and their many friends. Allegedly, it was one of these friends that ended up taking John's life. Because of his young age and the violent nature of his crime, the 12-year-old's identity hasn't been revealed yet. What we do know is that the boy has been charged with capital murder after allegedly breaking into the boxer's home and taking his life. Due to the charge of capital murder, the young boy could face potentially 40 years if convicted, a prospect that has stirred debate among advocates of juvenile justice. According to the police in Uvalde, Texas, the incident was first reported when a woman in the house, now known to be John's fiancée, called 911, reporting a break-in that had come with a fatal shooting. Witnesses say that they saw a male dressed in black and wearing a black bandana over part of his face, and they saw him fleeing the scene. The suspect was later caught and then transported to the Jordantown Juvenile Detention Center. Although the identity of the suspect remains undisclosed, legal experts believe that he may be one of the youngest individuals ever charged with capital murder, raising the question as to what exactly was the special circumstance warranting such classification. In this case, prosecutors likely considered the robbery component as the special circumstance. Not only did the boy break into John's house, it's possible that he attempted to steal as well. It's important to keep in mind that this is just speculation, however, since the boy's motive remains unknown or undisclosed. Mandy Miller, a Houston area attorney who represents juveniles convicted of capital murder, explains that district attorneys' offices often start with the highest possible charge and work their way down during the legal process. Therefore, there's also no way that we can confirm the exact special circumstance or even the validity of it. It's entirely possible that prosecutors charge the highest possible crime, expecting it to go down. In states like Texas, which have the death penalty, adults charged with capital murder are often faced with such. However, because of a Supreme Court decision from 2005, juveniles can't be charged similarly. The decision, considered historic in the field of juvenile crime, recognized the biological differences between adolescent and adult brains, particularly in terms of impulse control and decision-making. What this meant is that nationwide, even juveniles charged with capital murder cannot be given the death penalty. However, In Texas, since the suspect was under the age of 14, he couldn't be tried as an adult. Instead, prosecutors sought determinate sentencing through a grand jury, allowing them to sentence up to 40 years of prison time. What eventually happened, though, was something nobody could have predicted. As you might have noticed, I mentioned earlier that the police from Uvalde, Texas responded to the crime. Uvalde was also the setting for a tragic school shooting in early 2022. Following public outrage at the police response, many officers were suspended from the force. It is because of this suspension that 12-year-old's boy trial, now being pushed back almost 4 years with the boy having turned 16, didn't include a certain police officer on the witness list. With the trial being forfeited in favor of a plea deal, the boy agreed to serve 6 years in prison for pleading guilty to the charge of capital murder, though it's possible that he was given credit for already spending 4 years in custody awaiting trial. Being far less than the 40-year minimum he could have faced, this case highlighted the possible issues of a charge on the boy as young as 18. First of all, it's entirely possible that because of the police officer's disappearance, he got a far lower charge than he would if he went to trial. And also because of the disappearance, it's possible that they opted for a plea deal instead. But more than just these surface-level questions, what is really a capital murder instead of just a normal first-degree charge? And did he get off way too easy with only 6 years in prison? The sealed nature of this case makes it difficult for us to get an insight into the court process and how such a result happened. But in any case, this was an oddity in the legal system, and continued to raise the question as to whether such a charge should even be allowed upon juveniles. As this debate rages on, between those in favor of progressive models of criminal justice and those in favor of simply controlling crime, we'll keep you updated with other cases that highlight the issue. Thank you for listening to this episode of Call to the Bench. Stay tuned for next time, when we'll explore the legal nature of yet another case.